Good morning and welcome to our community affairs program that we call 30 Minutes. Today our special guest is Obion County Mayor Steve Carr, and it's always a pleasure to have Mayor Carr in the studio and to see you at meetings and visit with you in the office, and it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Charles. It's good to see you too, my friend, and it's always a pleasure to come and spend some time with you. And any chance I get to talk about Obion County and brag on our folks, it's always a good time for me because I love Obion County, I love our folks, and I love to get a chance to share with others about the good things that we have going on and our good people here.
I know we are just 3 months into this year, but it's been pretty busy for you, hasn't it?
It's been a busy year. Yes, we got off to a running start. I'll say that, and it certainly has been busy. So,
how long have you been in office now?
Well, since September of 22. It's a joy of my life to serve as mayor of Obion County. I get up every morning excited about the day and what we can hopefully get accomplished, and deal with whatever challenges that we have that come up, and there are always some that come up, and so we try to make sure we deal with them the best way we can.
Well, you've done an outstanding job, and I think everything that's gone on so far, you've got an A grade on it. It's been good.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much.
I wanted to ask you about some things that were going on. I guess one of the first things I want to ask you about, to clarify again that we have done that this week when we met at the budget meeting, but there was some rumors put out here locally in the community about the nursing home again. You clarified that, and I want you to tell those who may not have heard that this week, but the nursing home is not for sale, is it, Mayor?
That is correct. It is not for sale. I'll go back and review a little bit of that, perhaps how that got started. Several months ago, last year, as some of the other surrounding counties had made a decision to sell their county-owned nursing homes, there were some questions that were posed by a few county commissioners about our nursing home and about whether that might be an option that should be considered. And so in light of those questions, they decided to look into that possibility at that time by asking for some financial information and just to see kind of how things were going at our nursing home. And so the budget committee did make a formal request to the nursing home administration to provide some figures and budget information, which they did. They have that information now where they've been able to look at that. And so for some reason, I don't know why, but someone did decide to spread the rumor just last week that all of a sudden that it was back on the table about a possibility of pursuing the sale of the nursing home, but that is not true. And so at the budget meeting, I just wanted to clarify that because I think it's important that our folks know the truth of what's going on about the nursing home, and I don't want people to be worried about it for no reason, because we have wonderful residents there that we love, and we don't want them worried about a change, and we don't want their families having to worry about a change in ownership. And we have the greatest employees there, and we're proud of them, and we don't want them to have to be worried about whether we're going to have a job. And so I just wanted to ease their minds and make sure everybody was aware. I don't know why it got started, but there's no intention or no plan to sell the nursing home, and the committee members did get the financial information they needed, and the consensus has been to just, allow the nursing home to operate and take care of our residents and see how things go. And, it can be looked at down the road if there's a need to, but hopefully everything's going to be stabilized and run smoothly, and they're going to be fine. I think in the case of some of the other county nursing homes, they had run into some severe financial problems, and the county was having to give them some money and supplement the operation. And that's not the case here in Obion County. Our nursing home is operating free of any county tax money. They are self-sufficient, as they have always been, and so that is continuing. So that's where we are on that.
And the information that the board wanted to see or hear about is just, I guess you'd say, a best interest move for the county, for you and the members. But you do that in several areas, not just the nursing home.
Oh, that's true.
You have to stay on top of it, don't you?
Yes, because we have to make sure about the financial status of all of our county departments and agencies, and so the commissioners want to do their due diligence to make sure if there's an issue that is going to be coming up that they're prepared to deal with it. And so it makes good sense to look into the financial situation of our various departments so we don't have any surprises, because there would need to be plans made and preparations made if there was a shortfall of any funds, to operate. So that was just something they were thinking ahead, and to see if there was even a reason to consider a change.
And as you said during the meeting there, it really wasn't fair to the staff, to the employees, the residents' families to hear rumors like that, have everybody upset and wondering all the time. And so I think that your comments there of saying that the nursing home is not for sale maybe solved some of that for some time. I
hope so. I hope it eased any concern that they might have, and I just don't want them worried about that because we have plenty of legitimate things to bother us, and we don't need to be bothered about something that's not really an issue. So I wanted to ease their mind about that, and just want to make sure that folks know what's the facts are. And so I think being transparent about it is the best thing to do, always.
Absolutely. And of course, we had a major issue here in the county, unexpected by all means, because it seems, as someone said the other day, we just can't get a shower anymore. We've got to get 5, 6, 7, 8 inches of rain or tornado or something every time. And by George, we did get that heavy rain, and it caused some disastrous conditions down in the Reeves community. That came out of nowhere, didn't it, Mayor?
Yes, we did not expect what happened. We knew we would get rain, and we knew we'd get quite a bit of rain, but we didn't expect it to be that much, because it wound up being just under 7 inches, and in some places. And so that weekend of February 15th, 16th, that was turned out to be quite a challenging time for the community there in Reeves and a few other locations in the county because of the tremendous amount of rain that we got in a short period of time, and how it just was able to flood out the water systems, the channels that we have, like the Hoosier Creek and also the Obion River and other tributaries. It was just more water than they could handle, because it hadn't been that long since we'd had other rains, and so they were already pretty well full. Right. And so it didn't take much to get them to overflow.
Tell us about the moments that you were informed, I guess, by EMA Director Danny Jowers and others that you had a levee breach.
Yes, it was. We were watching that pretty closely on Saturday, but even as late as Saturday evening, it looked like things were going to be okay, and we were going to hopefully make it through without any major problem there in Reeves. But during the night, the early morning hours, Sunday morning, the 16th of February, the water began to come over the levee there. It was just too much at one time, and they had of course had some pumps working to try to keep the water out. But when the water started coming over the top, they had to turn the pumps off, and so then it really began to fill up quickly. So early in the morning on Sunday, I was advised about the situation, and so they had begun to try to figure out what was going to be needed, and so the decision was made to put a call in for some help to come to evacuate, because the water was rising so quickly. And so through our EMA director and the work of the fire chief there in Reeves, and making some decisions about making the calls after we made the request, we had tremendous response from rescue people, other EMA directors, and law enforcement throughout West Tennessee and beyond. And they were so good to come and to bring the necessary equipment that was needed. We had plenty of boats that were here, and we had plenty of ambulances that were here, and just all kinds of personnel and equipment that was needed. And so within a few hours, we had folks here to take care of the needs there, and we were able to set up out at the Ridgemont Elementary School. That's where our staging area was for this process, because we needed a facility that was solid and structurally sound, so we could be near where we were operating out of in Reeves. And so we were able to have the school there and bring the people in there and get them checked out and see where they needed to go. If some of them needed any kind of medical treatment, we could provide that. And if they needed clothing and different things, we had food there, and we had a tremendous response from the community of bringing food for the victims to have something to eat and just have all their needs met. And the system worked so smoothly, and it was a great blessing just to see how people come together in a time of need to make sure that their neighbors are taken care of. And that's one of the things that we do well in Obion County and our neighboring counties. I had countless calls from mayors of other counties, my friends, who wanted to come and say, whatever you need, if you need something, we want to help you, we want to provide, send whoever we need to send. And so I want to just say a word of thanks to all the area county mayors who reached out to me, and then there were others that reached out, and so we just appreciate all of that. But here locally, when the word got out and we put the request out for help, we've had a great response of people to make financial contributions so that there be funds to help provide for the needs of these folks who were displaced. We had about 95 people that were evacuated during that process by boat, and there were some who self-evacuated, and so we were thankful that we were able to get most of the people did decide and cooperate with the request to leave because of the dangerous water level at the time and because the electricity was going to have to be turned off due to safety concerns on that Sunday evening. So we looked at the situation, and so I made the decision to go ahead and declare a state of emergency for Obion County that Sunday afternoon due to the fact that we knew we had families that we had to get out of harm's way, and we knew we had to deal with the electricity situation being turned off. And so we knew that we needed to be able to do that to take care of them. And, of course, this was not only just a rainstorm we had to deal with. We were trying to get this taken care of and get the folks in a safe place and secure, because right behind the rainstorm was this winter situation coming in with sub-freezing temperatures and snow.
Yeah.
And at that time they were predicting about 6 inches or so. We didn't get that much, thankfully, but we did get some. So we were trying to beat the clock on that, as well as just make sure we were taking care of everybody.
You didn't have much time to react when that water started coming over that levee either, did you?
No, we didn't. It happened so fast. It was just almost unbelievable how fast that things changed, as that water started coming. And with their location over there in the low-lying area, it's prone to get water, to come in there. And so that in itself is an ongoing issue and challenge. And then, of course, with the Hoosier Creek running there, intersecting with the Obion River, very close to Reeves, and we found some areas where the levee needed to be reinforced and built up more, and that just allowed the water to come in there, because when you get all that water, it's going to go somewhere.
It was a different kind of water too,
yes,
wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
A deep water. And the Red Cross responded well and opened the center at Woodland Mills. I visited there.
Yes.
The mayor was out there. He was cooking breakfast and cooking meals and doing anything they needed to keep the people comfortable. Even had a nurse on scene. And
that's right.
The response was, as you said, was just absolutely amazing. You don't really know how people care about each other until something like that happens, really, at times.
That's right. During those times we see the good in people and how their hearts are open to help. And yes, we were thankful for the Red Cross and their help. And then, of course, I asked for the Beulah Baptist Association to help us in coordinating as far as receiving contributions and helping to distribute to the families in need. And we just had such a great effort there and cooperation. The same thing working with trying to get the people's electricity turned back on and get their sewer system working. And, I just all I needed to do was just make the request known, and people were ready to help and to respond. And so I just appreciate so much the willingness of folks to step up in a time of need and to help.
And it was very interesting. I got to attend the meeting that you had at Ridgemont School with the officials from Gibson Electric Membership Corporation on trying to get that power back on when the water started to recede. And I mean, they were all on board of who we can get on. We will, if it's safe, we will get them back on. And I mean, within a period of 10 hours, you had over 50%, almost 75% of those residents had their power back on.
That is correct, yes.
That was amazing.
Without hesitation, they were willing to come in and help us determine as quickly as possible everywhere that was safe to get that electricity restored, and so we were able to do that.
They did. They had people sitting in the parking lot,
Yes,
outside the school, and they said, we got a crew in South Fulton or somewhere working, we'll bring them here, you get us a boat and get us to the house. And so that really worked out well, too.
Yes, it did. I really appreciate the folks at Gibson Electric and how they helped us out and their cooperation in all of this.
And we were very fortunate to have a visit from Governor Bill Lee,
yes,
from Tennessee 8th District U.S. Congressman David Kustoff, from TEMA, who came to the site, got a view of it. How do you feel about that meeting?
Well, that was a very good meeting for us that Tuesday afternoon. We had, as you said, the Governor Bill Lee came, and Congressman David Kustoff came, and Patrick Sheehan came, and he's the director of TEMA. Mm-hmm. And so to have all of them here together, it gave us an opportunity for them as a group to see the severity of the damages. And I was able to talk with them privately and personally to express my appreciation to them for being here, but also to express my concerns about the needs that we have because of the flooding and potential flooding over there in the Reeves area. And not only there, but also we had some flooding in Obion, not as extensive as in Reeves, but we did have some people, a few displaced there that we were concerned about. And there were a few other places even where the levee breached that we had folks that had to be removed from their homes. And so it's a serious situation. And my angle on that is that with all the resources we have, when we think about the state government, we think about the federal government, there are ample funds that can be used to help in cases like this. And we always are hearing about all the millions and billions of dollars that are sent overseas and other places. And so, I just believe that we can always surely have some money that can help folks here in a time of need like this. And that was one of those times. And so I have asked the governor for assistance, and I've asked Congressman Kustoff for assistance. I've also talked personally with Senator Marsha Blackburn and for assistance, and just asking them to help me and to do and to just bring about whoever needs to come in here to help reinforce the levees and get them heightened, and also to provide some funds to help. There needs to be a permanent pumping system there in Reeves, so we don't have to rely on temporary ones, but we can have a permanent pumping system that's ready to go and to get that water pumped out of there. And I know that if everybody will work together, we can come up with a plan to get some help over there.
Do you see help coming for the people of Reeves, you think?
They've been very they've committed to helping me, and I believe that they're going to. And the governor had someone reach out to me again this past week, again to see where we are in this process and what the needs are. So once again, I relayed to them, what I know to be some great needs as far as getting some help in here. And so I'm hopeful and confident that they're going to do something for us and try to help us.
Well, there's no doubt with them seeing it firsthand with their own eyes, they're bound to be more needing to help the people. I mean, than just see it on television or something, but to stand there as they did and see that water up to those car tires and in the houses. And this is something. This is not anything unusual for the people of Reeves. They go through this quite often.
Yes, sadly that's been the case. They have frequent periods of where it floods. Now this was the worst one, of course,
right, that
anyone remembers. But they do have times frequently that this happens, and has through the years. And so, my goal would be to try to make it where that this doesn't happen in the future. We don't want them to have to go through that. And if there's a way we can, we know that because of the way the ground is there and the way the land lays, they're going to get water. There's going to be some issues of water accumulating there, but it doesn't have to be to the point that folks have to be evacuated. If we can take some corrective measures and be proactive in this thing, and there's a word called mitigation, and so we want to do that. We want to be wise and to mitigate this so that we don't have this opportunity or this situation again where that water can so easily come in there and overtake the town. And so a good, I believe a more sophisticated pumping system and a levee that's been heightened and reinforced, I think will go a long way to help that.
Again, today we are speaking with Obion County Mayor Steve Carr. It's always a pleasure to have the mayor on our program. And you brought out some really good information and good news for the county recently in meetings, because the courthouse storage it's full, and you found a place for additional storage.
Yes, that is another issue that we've been dealing with, because the state requires that certain records be kept forever. Now we're familiar with the understanding that some records after 7 years can be destroyed, but there are certain records that they require that can never be destroyed, so they have to be stored and stored safely and properly. And the bottom line is we've simply run out of room in the courthouse, and they had been storing records for some time up on the top floor, which is the former location of the Obion County Jail. And so we recently had an engineer to come in and to do a study and to check on that, because we knew that we were nearing, if not surpassing, the capacity for that floor with the records there.
No more weight.
And so he says, y'all have reached that. You don't need to put anything else up there. And so we had been anticipating this and trying to find a place that would be suitable. And of course, it's not every day that something is available in the location you want it to be. And so I've been concerned about that for some time, trying to just find the right place. And so after we got that report back from the engineer and Long Range Planning Committee and I had met together, and the Courthouse Asset Committee, we had talked about this before, and the other county officials who have the records that have a need to store, we had all been concerned about this. And so anyway, the Long Range Planning Committee asked me to go ahead and try to find, something that would work. And fortunately, I was able to find a building that was in the right location, right, and at a good price for the county to be able to purchase. And so we're very thankful that this is going to be worked out for us to have that building, and it's already pretty much set up like it needs to be. There'll be very little cosmetic work that needs to be done to make it suitable for our county officials to have their records stored safely. And so they could literally walk from the courthouse to the building and back, within 5 minutes. So it's great.
Because there was some concern in some of the meetings from some of the ladies there at the courthouse about if they had storage building across town,
right,
how inconvenient that would be to have to drive across. I guess they have to access the records from time to time. And so correct. I think you hit a home run on this selection.
Well, we're very thankful that we was able to get it, and it's the right location at the right time, and so I'm very pleased about that.
So will you be able to leave the existing records that are in the courthouse there now and just put your new into the new building, or are you going to transfer? I
think the plan is to transfer at least some of them from the top floor, and some of them may decide to leave some of the records there. But I think as many as we can, we'll probably move and get off the top floor and put them
alleviate that weight off.
Kind of be all together. But some of them may decide to leave some of them there. We just can't have as much as we've been there stored.
Right. Well, good deal. Planning on being able to start on that pretty soon. Then.
Pretty soon, yeah. The owner of the building that we're purchasing, he still has some items in there. He's getting moved and cleared out, so it won't be a whole lot longer. We'll be able to start the move in there.
Another good bit of information. And I talked to you recently. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to check on it anymore, but Fulton County is now I-69 up to meeting with Tennessee here on the Fulton side that way. Where do we stand now on our designation here in Union City and Obion County being 690, getting that designation for I-69 here?
TDOT officials, and TDOT, of course, stands for Tennessee Department of Transportation, those folks still say that everything they're told out of Washington and the feds that are involved in this project is that we cannot refer to this or officially call it I-69 because it is not connected to their interstate or the rest of the way. And so there was some question about, well, if it's connected on one end of it, does that count, or does it have to be connected on both ends of it? And so there was information given that said, no, it has to be on both ends. And then later they said, well, maybe just on one end. But in Kentucky, as you have said, over there, it's not connected on both ends, right, because we're part of that connection. And so obviously, if we're not 69, but they still are able to call theirs I-69. So I don't understand that, and we haven't got a good answer yet for that. And there seems to be some confusion about that. A major portion of the funds for the project did come from the feds, and so they want to comply with what the feds ask them to do. And I understand that. They don't want to jeopardize any future funding from the feds. But at the same time, it just we would like to know for certain if it can be called I-69 or how soon it can be, because even though that may not be a big deal for some people, for our recruitment purposes, it is a big deal, because there are certain restaurants and certain businesses that will not consider this area to locate unless it's an interstate area, that will have an interstate running through the county and the town. So it is a big deal for us from that standpoint, you know. So I'm hoping that we'll get that clarified and get an answer, and I'm hoping before long that it can be called I-69. You know, I did ask them to put up the signs that said future I-69 corridor, which they did. They put those up. And so it does clearly say that it eventually will be I-69. And in fact, on some Google, if you Google it, it shows 69 running through Obion County on there. But even though we can't really put the signs up that say so.
Yeah. We've got a couple of minutes left here. Budget meetings are fixing to start. You said this week that you want the budget to be done in July this year, right?
Yes, we're going to try to be able in our July meeting to be prepared to approve the budget for the new fiscal year. So in order to do that, we have to start pretty soon with our budget hearings. And so we'll be doing that. And this month we'll be getting budgets in for our nonprofit organizations, and then we'll be moving on to the county departments and moving forward with that. It doesn't seem possible. It's that time again, but right. You know, if we blink our eye a couple of times, here it is. It's time again to prepare the budget. Because for you and your department, you're starting a new year. Yes, that's right. Not instead of January to December, you go July to June, don't you? That's right. That's exactly right. So July 1 will be here soon. Well, Mayor, it's always a pleasure, again, to have you on the program, and we appreciate so much how you help us here at Thunderbolt Broadcasting in our newsroom. You're always available. You have great comments, and you keep us informed, and we appreciate that tremendously. Well, thank you, Charles. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and meet with you. I appreciate you always helping us get the information out to the public that they need to hear. And, one of the things I'll end my comments with this, something I had referred to when I was updating the county about the situation in Reeves and the flooding. And as I think about our situation and think about Obion County, this is what I like to say. Sometimes we fall down, sometimes we get knocked down, but we get back up. And we got knocked down pretty good on that flood situation, but we got right back up, as we always do, and we always will, as long as we look to the Lord and He guides us and gives us the ability and strength to do it. And that's what's so great about this community and this place we call home. Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And that concludes this week's 30 Minutes program. We hope you enjoyed today's show. And, of course, we invite you to tune in again next week at this same time as we bring you topics and information of importance to our community. From all of us here at Thunderbolt Broadcasting, until we meet again next week, I'm Charles Choate.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.